Hey guys, welcome back to another Hypixel Skyblock video. Today, I'm talking about the players of Hypixel Skyblock, because what I've been seeing is that people online and in-game are talking about the fact that they don't like the game. They'll find someone, and then that person will say, "Hey, this game looks kind of interesting. I'd like to see it," and then all the comments beneath it are like, "No, it's terrible." Or I'll see someone in-game and they'll talk about, "Oh, this game is so terrible and the admins are ruining it." And just, why would you play a game if you don't enjoy it? If you don't like the game, don't play the game. There are lots of games out there, I promise you. There are games that will fit exactly what you want to do. You just gotta find them. So I don't really understand why people play that. But going off of that on a topic, I'd like to talk about the things that the admins are doing that I think are good, and then some things that I think are bad. I'm going to start with the bad first, because we gotta save the best for last. So, the current skills that I think aren't very good are mining, farming, and trophy fishing specifically. Regular fishing is fine, but trophy fishing isn't great. Those skills all lack many things. So I'm going to talk about farming first, because I've invested a lot into farming and I've done a lot of farming. Farming has gotten a lot better in recent times because of the garden a while ago, and then, that adding pests gives you another method to farm, because you can do pest farming instead of regular farming, which is good, and it gets you more collections, and it gets you good profit, and it helps stop AFK people from macroing a bunch of coins because they lose out on all that farming fortune. So I'd say that part's pretty good. And the garden is much better because it gives a ton of farming XP when you do gardening. You can level it up passively, but the actual act of farming, it sucks. Because there's not really another way that I can see to make farming more interesting, but it's just you go in a straight line, you hold down one button, because one of the mods lets you make your click always click. But basically, what I do when I farm is I hit that button, I turn the sound off, because the sound of XP from each pumpkin is very degrading if you listen to it for a long time. And then over on my second monitor, I'll just have a video up. And then I watch a video while I'm farming, and it's like, if the skill is so boring that you need to do something else so it doesn't feel terrible, then the skill is bad and something needs to happen. Now, I do like some of the newer things. Jacob's Contest having new tiers is kinda neat. They added the Baker guy, which gives you that Celestial mix-in, which is incredible. I love Magic Find. It gives you more incentive to farm, at least. You can get excited. It's kinda getting closer to gambling now, and that's fun, especially since, it's not real money, and you don't pay anything to do it. The Ultimate Enchantment Crop Fever is so fun every time I hit one of those. So, adding random drops while you're farming does make it more interesting, but if we keep going in this direction, we can't really change, and so I don't know how they're gonna make farming good. I think it's just gonna end up kinda sucking, or you do the garden and level it up very slowly, which isn't a bad thing necessarily, but it's not really a good thing either. But I have thought about game design a lot, because I used to try to make games, and so I understand some of the difficulties that making something good comes with. So I'm not really sure how to fix it. I don't really have any ideas, but in its current state it isn't great, but at least they're giving it a fair shot. Over to mining, it is not great. Yeah, I heard it gets better in the late game, but I have quite a few issues with mining. So first of all, you need to get to a really high Heart of the Mountain level, basically 7, and then you can start doing stuff. 7 is a very hard thing to get, because there's glaciate mine shafts, but I don't know what those are yet. I know they exist. I know you mine in the Dwarven base camp or something like that, and you can go in these generated mine shafts, and it sounds absolutely lovely, because having things that are procedurally generated like dungeons, and then just having dudes in them that you can open up with keys and all that, that sounds great, that sounds fun. But, you know, you still have to get to Hot M7 to do that, and the Crystal Hollows, in my opinion, is absolutely terrible. I do not like it at all, because it's also procedurally generated, but in a bad way, because you either do gemstone mining, which isn't procedurally generated, and there's just routes to find, and you have to, like, competitively fight other people to get in there, and I don't want to do that. That's why I don't do that. I also don't have tons and tons of money to go mining. It's just not very easy to get the amount of money you need to buy drills and all that. I mean, drills are expensive. I have this beginner drill right here. It's just the refined Mithra one. It is the up tier one, not the basic. But the lowest bin right now is 16 mil, and then I have the engine and the fuel tank and the omelet, and all that together is like 60 mil. This is only the second worst drill. With all of the worst add-ons, it should not be this expensive. I do have some hope for high tier of mining, but the other part of the Crystal Hollows is the Crystal Nucleus, because that's another part of the negatives with the procedural generation, because you want to go to all of the different structures that are randomly generated in there, and now they'll always generate in the same formation, in the same quadrant of the map. It's basically bad. You gotta re-roll lobbies until you get a good one where they're all near the core, and then you can lose 1.5 mil per run to hope you get a Devon alloy, because I checked the RNG meter, almost nothing else is valuable. There's one other valuable item, it's some other Devon thing, but it's only 400k. So I dropped 3 of them one time and I still lost money, so that's incredible. I love the way that works. Precursors are so fun. I used to grind them for money a lot, but that's pretty bad. I wouldn't recommend that for anybody, really. Going on over to trophy fishing. Now, trophy fishing, I don't know why they added it. We already had fishing. They were making fishing good. You have cool sea creatures, and I've seen some of them high-level sea creatures, like this Wiki Tiki, and some big old snake in the Bayou. And they have like a whole custom fight, and you can only fight them with fishing rods, and you have to avoid their attacks, and they do like percentage damage, so everybody can die and everybody's got a fair shot, and loot share is incredible because you can kill other people's sea creatures and it just benefits both of you. It's incredible. And then they added trophy fishing. I don't know what they were thinking with this one. You gotta fish without the cool sea creatures, because if you have sea creature chance, you have less trophy chance. So you gotta go to the Crimson Isle, you gotta get this hunter armor, because that gives you good chance. And then you get to fish, and you hope. And they added a pity meter, which is good. You can check it using /pity, because you gotta have it. Go over to the Lotus Atoll, I can see all my pities for all these, and I mean 600 is a bit. At least they made the exploding less, because that one's terrible. You just gotta fish for one thing 600 times, because diamond is so comically rare compared to everything else. It's bad. It's not fun. It doesn't add too much. It's why I'm doing it while I'm talking during the video. It's so simple that I can explain something to someone else while doing it and still keep up with what I'm doing. I don't really know any way to make it better, and I don't really know what the admins were going for with this one, but whatever, I guess? At least they're doing something, maybe? I don't know. I like to be a completionist in the games that I play, so adding things that are super grindy and boring for absolutely no reason really annoys me. Speaking of which, the final unrelated thing that's not a skill, but super annoying, is Melody's harp. Because I was looking at it, and I'm like, oh, they put a thing behind getting everything to 100%. You get this gold melody note on your name as your little fun name add-on. And so I'm like, okay, It can't be that bad. I remember doing this like 3 years ago. I got all the songs to like 90%. I'm more skilled than I was 3 years ago. I could do that. They added 2 more songs, and one of them's inspired by Through the Fire and Flames, which is a notoriously hard song. But it's even worse on Hypixel because number 1, there are 7 rows instead of 4. Most rhythm games have 4 rows. 7 is a lot more. Number 2, unless you have a mod, you cannot keybind those. You have to use the right-click function on your mouse, because if you left-click, it lags so hard that you just can't play the song. I mean, even getting up to 90% is way too hard. I can't do it. I try almost every day, but I've only gotten up to like 40%. That's just ridiculous. There's a whole Skyblock level behind those last 2 songs for me, and the last one doesn't seem as bad, honestly. But the second to last one is not great. And it's also too intelligent, and I started playing Mage again, so I really need that. And, you know, also for anyone with worse internet than me, because my internet is very consistent and I live moderately close to Chicago, so my ping is like 80 or something, I think. It's good enough where I don't have issues when I'm doing the harp, but it is not a fun experience, and I am getting very fed up with it. And then they put a reward behind it. If there wasn't a reward, I would still have to do it eventually, but it wouldn't be as pressing. But they put a thing there, and I want that thing, and I can't have it because the game sucks. So I'm going to move on to some positive things the admins are doing, because we got to end this off on a good note, because there are great things that they're doing. Incredible additions. And I'm going to start off with one addition that has some good and some bad, and that's the bestiary. The bestiary is great because it lets you level up combat incredibly fast by killing a variety of mobs, and it incentivizes you to just explore a bunch of areas and, you know, kill every mob a few times, and then you level up and you get 1,000,000 combat XP, and then you go over to the Crimson Isles and die to something. It's incredible. The bad part is hypermaxing again, because they put the kill count on Glaciate Walkers for 10,000, and a ton of other mobs also have 10,000. 10,000 is a big number, and I don't want to kill that many of the same thing, because that sounds really annoying, and I don't want to sit here and do the same boring task over and over again. That's what makes the game bad. And that's where criticism towards the game is good, as long as you're not just calling the whole game bad. But, because it gives combat XP, and it lets me skip a ton of time, because I had an older profile that's now deleted, where I did combat just grinding out spiders in the spider's den to get to the end, and then doing endermen to get to the Crimson Isle, and that took me like 10 hours or something. It was a long time. And then I learned about bestiary on this profile, and it's like, oh, it took me an hour to get to the Crimson Isle. And then I died to mobs, so I don't do anything there yet, because you kind of need a Hyperion for that. I don't have that. It lets you progress a lot faster, which is good. Maxing it out is terrible. But on to some really good things now, because foraging used to suck, until the admins decided to add the best update in Hypixel Skyblock history, and then make an incredible foraging isle, the Galatea. Ooh, gold. Nice. So the Galatea is pretty great, because you can chop down trees, and they added sweep, and they made the axes unique, and the tree capitator is no longer 20 mil, and you can also level foraging up pretty easily, where you're not doing the same boring repetitive task, which is what we're going for here. It's incredible. That's really fun. I was enjoying foraging, actually. I used to avoid it so much, I just wouldn't forage because I thought it would be terrible. But now I actively choose to go foraging because it's fun. There's contests, there's collections. You can go dive into the bottom of the lake and kill these super special glow squids and then drown immediately afterwards. It's so fun. It's so great. And you can have a great time foraging. And they're adding another update very soon with even more foraging content. It's going to be incredible. So, very good stuff there. I also want to touch on combat. Now, for combat, they've been doing less. That's because combat is already one of the better parts of the game. Now, Slayers aren't really that good because they're Slayers. You basically just do them during Aatrox, so you can get that out of the way. I mean, you get cool stuff, but it's a lot of RNG there, and also you have to do a lot of them to max them out, which I've made my stance on that very clear, so I'm not going to say any more there. But it gets better. So there's dungeons. Everybody knows about dungeons. Everybody likes dungeons. And a new update coming out, I don't know, probably pretty soon. It's one of the minor patches instead of like a big major update. But they're balancing dungeons so that you can play the floor when you unlock the floor. And every class will be viable, because currently it's either you do Slayers until you get a Juju, or you play Berserker because they made Berserker good in an update a while ago. And the server's rebooting. Thank you, Hypixel. Incredible. After the update, dungeons should be pretty good. And they're currently still pretty good, I'd say. I do like the current dungeons, but I think the reason they didn't touch it for so long is not because they hate the players, it's because they wanted the other parts of the game to be enjoyable, so people can have fun doing something else instead of just combat's good and then you have to do everything else to get there, because that would suck. If you want to do like the fun thing, you gotta do 100 hours of things that suck and are super boring, then you just don't play the game because the game sucks. It is that easy. And so, I think that's why they've been focusing on other things, but the other things have been getting so good that they're focusing on combat again. They also probably just feel a need to, so the players don't keep asking them about combat updates, because oh boy do I see that a lot. The final part of combat is the Crimson Isle, because that's the endgame content. And that part, it's pretty good. I've played some of it, but you kinda need a Hyperion for that. And because Hyperions are so expensive and hard to get, and you really do need them for that, they'd have to add like a good amount of new options for different for classes at different points in the game to balance things out so that you can play all the game when you should be able to play the game. I mean, that one is an easier fix than all of them. Like, there's a good idea there. You need a mage weapon in between the Glacial Scythe and the Hyperion. The Glacial Scythe is pretty similar to the Spirit Scepter, which is a floor 4 item, and then you gotta get all the way to floor 7 with that. And I feel like that's a little bit of a stretch. Because it is a little bit of a stretch. Basically, you do that, you get an F7 clear, and then you grind money until you get a Hyperion. And that part of the game is the worst. That's where most people quit. We need to fix that part. And I know that they're gonna fix the beginning in the new update, which is cool. I mean, that's good. Having the beginning of the game for new players be enjoyable is great. I love it. I always want more people to play the game that I enjoy. But at this point of the game, it's not good, because you won't believe what the best money-making methods are, but it's farming and mining, the two skills that I complained about earlier for being so terribly boring that they suck. You can also do dungeons, but it makes a lot less money, although it is a lot more interactive and fun. You know, if you want to do the good dungeons, you need the expensive gear that's locked behind the money. You should go farm for 200 hours. No one wants to do that. So, I hope that they fix that at some point, but at least they made 2 of the skills really enjoyable, and fishing for sea creatures is pretty enjoyable. That's all the things that I came here to talk about. As I said at the beginning of the video, if you don't like the game, stop playing the game. Don't tell other people not to play the game, because what if they like it? I like the game. I like most parts of the game. They're enjoyable enough. I enjoy mining for a little bit, because getting those tasks done feels good. I love the feeling of long-term progress. And farming is good for when it's late at night and I'm bored and I don't know what else to do. So I'll throw on a Technoblade video and then I'll farm and it will be great and I'll have a good time. I hope you have a good day. Like and subscribe.